Hey guys, so this is my first video as an INFP, and I wanted to contribute to some of the helpful videos that I've seen. I don't know if this will be helpful to you at all, but I just wanted to share my experience, and I know as INFPs we're always kind of looking to learn more about ourselves in hopes that it can enlighten our current decisions or just give us some general direction in our lives. I know I do that all the time, and maybe one or two people will stumble upon this video and say, you know what, I relate to you. If not, who knows? This was fun to make. So I have my cup of coffee, and if you want to get a cup of coffee, ah shit, motherfucker. Okay, so I just spilled my cup of coffee, and if you want to get a cup of coffee too, or tea while you're watching this, and don't spill it, feel free. So, okay. So I want to talk about freedom versus structure for INFPs and which they thrive in and which is ultimately better for their creativity. So, I'm not an expert on INFPs, I'm not a psychologist, but I just want to share my own experience today. So I want to give you a concrete example, and I specifically want to talk about my experience in high school versus college. So just to let you know a little bit about myself, I'm 25 right now. I'm in the middle of a career switch, but I don't know what I'm switching to. So I'm considering graduate school. I just finished a teaching fellowship abroad in France, and I'm at home now with my parents I've been here for a few weeks, and I'm kind of making a huge life decision that will really kind of dictate at least the next couple years of my life. And if I go to graduate school, I'm going to be spending a lot of money. And so, long story short, all these things are swimming around my head. I'm like, what the F am I doing with my life? And, every 5 seconds, I'm like, maybe I should go to law school. And my parents are always like, are you sure you don't want to be a doctor? So, anyway, I'm a little stressed out. I am in the middle of a quarter life crisis, and I guess I'm making this video as much as for as much as much for myself as I am for other people. So, so that's where I am right now. So let's back up to high school. So what I want to talk about high school is high school is really structured, or it was for me. And I think it is for a lot of people when compared to college. And I bring this up because my whole life growing up, and especially in high school when I was in my angsty teenage phase, um, I was like, oh my God, like, F everything, like, F my parents, like, nobody understands me, like, I hate having, like, no freedom. I can't wait till I get away to college. And so, I did go to college, and I went to actually a very elite college because I studied all the time in high school. Like, that's all I did. I was a super nerd, and I really resented my parents for that in some respects, but at the same time, I really loved learning. But I had no freedom. I really had no social life. Like, there were no crazy high school parties, like in Can't Hardly Wait. Like, it was very segmented. It was very predictable. I got up at 8 in the morning in high school, and went to all my classes, and sports were required at my school. So, I got up at 8 and I stayed there until 5:30. I came home, did homework all the time, and that was my life. And I thought that I actually craved freedom, and I did crave freedom, and I finally got it when I went to college. I went to a college that was basically across the country from my parents. I wanted to get as far away from them as possible. And although my relationship with them has obviously changed now, at the time I was just your classic angsty teenager. So in college, I got the shock of my life. Um, I did not know how to handle freedom. I was just totally clueless. I didn't know how to regulate my own sleep cycle. I didn't know how much to socialize versus, study. Like, my diet was haywire, and these sound like really simple things to kind of control, right? Like, part of being an adult is just knowing when to go to bed on time so you can get enough sleep and be rested, and knowing that eating nachos 5 times a week will make you gain the freshman 20 and will make you sluggish all the time. I speak from experience. So, these are really simple things, but I didn't know how to handle them. And these basic things basically resulted in huge consequences. I became, um, I would say depressed at college. I didn't know, I just had no structure in my life. I had classes that I was supposed to go to, and I didn't go. I couldn't concentrate. Like my life, like literally turned upside down. Um, and I was like, oh my God, am I depressed? Like, what the F am I doing with my life? What's going on? And in retrospect, I'm not sure of all the pieces of the puzzle, but I do think that at the base of it was just structure. Not having not having a constant sleep cycle, going to bed at 5 in the morning one day and then, sleeping from 9 in the morning to 8 p.m. the next day. It's horrible, and it really did make me depressed, and it really negatively affected my mental health. And I realized that even though I'm a creative person, like many INFPs are, I need structure. And paradoxically, under this structure is when I can be most creative. So I literally need somebody, telling me, okay, you need to be at this time. You need to be here at 8 p.m. or 8 a.m. And if you're not there, somebody will notice and you will have consequences. And in college, you do have consequences, but those consequences are very delayed, so they're not immediate. So if you don't go to class all semester, nobody's going to call you up and say, where were you? But rather, at the end of the semester, you're going to get a B or a C or an F, which unfortunately did happen to me. I didn't get an F, but I didn't perform to my potential, basically. So I really regret that now. And even now, I'm struggling with self-discipline, and it's hard, and it's kind of embarrassing to admit to yourself because, when you're an adult, you want to believe that you can make choices that are the best for you. And it's hard when you don't know how to kind of make those choices. So honestly, for me, it's like back to basics. Like I just need to sleep at the same time every single day. Obviously, that's not always possible, but a sleep cycle is just huge for me. Like getting up early in the morning makes me feel so productive, even if I don't do anything but just like read the New York Times or um, even if I were to like watch, reality TV or something. I mean, just getting up early makes me feel so good, and that's huge. Another thing is eating well. So I love fried foods, like I love fatty foods, and this is weird because growing up, my parents always cooked really healthy things. We never, ate fast food. It was almost like a treat for us, which is maybe why I crave it now. But anyway, so I constantly have to battle, you know, eating like chicken nuggets versus, eating just a nice salad or, quinoa or just something balanced. So that's one thing. And the third pillar of this trifecta, the first two being exercise and sleep, is, sorry, sleep and diet is exercise. I just gave it away. So I hate exercise. Like, let me just tell you, I effing hate exercise so much. Like, even when I was 5 years old, all the kids would be like, oh my God, like, come play with us. And I'd be like, no thanks, I'm cool, like, reading a book. And I just do that, like, all the time. Like, I hated running around. I would just much rather sit on the couch. And luckily for me, somehow I stayed thin when I was a kid. But I told you that when I went to college, I gained the freshman 20, and it was very undignified, unfortunately. And now, as an adult, I'm realizing that not only for my weight and aesthetics, but for my own sense of mental health, exercise is key for me. And so what I've been trying to do is I've been trying to run, and I noticed that if I can just, start running, if I force myself to run once or twice, then I'll have the momentum and I'll just keep wanting to do it. But there's always those times when I don't want to run, and I think it just comes down to willpower. Like I have to make myself run. But when I do, I notice that I worry so much less. I'm in my head so much less. Like I stop overanalyzing things. And I don't know if it's like this for you, guys who are INFPs, but oh my god, I just analyze every single thing to death. And it's like, I'm tired. I'm exhausted from thinking. Like, I don't want to think anymore. And so exercise just makes me feel so great. And yeah. So exercise, sleep, and diet have been like, the three major things that I've been trying to work on. And this doesn't translate directly into any kind of career epiphany, but I think that it translates into the basis, the solid foundation to be productive and to make, you know, to make life decisions, to make everyday decisions and just start living your life. Um, so that's, those are my thoughts. It's nothing profound, it's nothing new. It's just what I'm trying to work on. And, maybe later I'll share with you more specific career stuff. Um, but, but yeah, and so feel free to respond to me in comments or in videos. And if you relate to me, or even if you, if you disagree, if you think other approaches would be more helpful, just let me know because I'm always open to more information. Okay, thanks so much, guys. See you soon.